Cosmic Chronicles here with new episode. Deep in the hills of eastern Washington, a mysterious bottomless pit continues to resurface in stories believed by many to be connected to the paranormal. One of the strangest claims is about a black beam that supposedly emits from the hole. Unlike anything natural, this hole seemed to have the ability to expel objects into the sky, almost as if it were flushing things upward instead of pulling them down. This strange pit, known as Mel's Hole, has baffled locals and researchers for years. It has been associated with unusual discoveries, unexplained events, and even whispers of government secrecy. Drones sent into its depth have recorded unsettling footage, but rather than providing answers, they have only raised more questions. Is this just a strange geological phenomenon, or is something more sinister at play? The mystery of Mel's Hole continues to intrigue and unsettle those who hear about it. In the remote rolling hills of eastern Washington, a man named Mel Waters discovered something that would captivate people and spark an enduring mystery. Near the small town of Ellensburg, on a piece of land along Manistash Ridge, Mel stumbled upon a strange, gaping hole in the earth. At first glance, it seemed like an old, forgotten well. However, upon closer inspection, Mel realized that there was something unnatural about it. The hole was about 9 feet wide and surrounded by a stone wall that extended about 15 feet downward before giving way to an endless black void. For years, locals had been using the hole as a dumping ground. Mel, his wife, and even the neighbors who lived in the area before him had thrown all kinds of trash into it: household waste, broken machinery, old car tires. But strangely, the hole never filled up. No matter how much was tossed in, its depth remained unchanged. Mel's curiosity grew. He decided to conduct a simple test. He picked up a rock, tossed it into the hole, and waited to hear it hit the bottom. But he never did. Seconds passed, then minutes, and still no sound came back. It was as if the hole had swallowed the rock completely, sending it somewhere unknown. Determined to understand more, Mel began experimenting. He dropped larger, heavier objects into the pit, hoping to hear them land. But no matter what he threw in, the result was the same: silence. The hole seemed endless. As he spent more time near it, he noticed other strange occurrences. His normally friendly dogs refused to go anywhere near the hole. They would whine, pull against their leashes, and dig their paws in the ground to resist being taken closer. It was as if they sensed an invisible danger. Even the environment around the hole seemed unnatural. The air was eerily still. No birds sang, no insects buzzed. However, birds had no problem flying directly over it, as if it only affected those on the ground. One of the most unsettling discoveries was the effect the hole had on Mel's radio. Whenever he brought the device near the opening, it would emit strange, unexplainable signals. It was as if the hole was interfering with frequencies beyond normal human perception. Mel was determined to figure out just how deep the hole was. As an experienced fisherman, he had access to miles of fishing line. He decided to lower a weighted line into the hole, thinking he could measure its depth. He tied a 1-pound lead weight to the end of the line and let it drop into the darkness. The weight quickly vanished from sight. Mel expected to feel a tug when it hit the bottom, but it never came. Confused, he continued unspooling more and more line, but still, there was no sign of the bottom. What started as a simple afternoon experiment turned into an obsession. He lowered 4,500 feet of line, almost a mile, but there was still no resistance. Determined, he continued, reaching 10,000 feet, then 80,000 feet, and eventually an astonishing 166 miles of fishing line. Yet the hole still showed no sign of having a bottom. It was as if it stretched on infinitely. But the depth was only part of the mystery. Hoping to see if there was water inside the pit, Mel lowered a pack of Lifesavers candy. If they dissolved, it would mean the hole contained moisture. However, when he pulled them back up, they were completely dry. Other strange events surrounded the hole. One of Mel's neighbors shared a chilling story. After his dog passed away, he decided to dispose of the remains by placing them into the pit. A few days later, the man claimed he saw a dog in the woods that looked exactly like his deceased pet, down to the same collar. However, when he called out to it, the dog showed no recognition and acted as if it had never known him. It was as if the animal had returned, but something about it was different. As stories about Mel's hole spread, they eventually reached the ears of Art Bell, the host of Coast to Coast AM, a popular radio show focused on the paranormal. In 1997, Bell invited Mel to share his story with millions of listeners. During the interview, Mel detailed his discovery, the experiments he conducted, and the eerie events surrounding the hole. Listeners were fascinated and called in with their own theories. Some believed the hole was a portal to another dimension, while others thought it might be the result of secret government experiments. Some even speculated that it was connected to ancient legends and Native American lore. As the story gained more attention, people from across the country became interested. However, not everyone welcomed the publicity. Shortly after the radio broadcast, unmarked military vehicles arrived in Ellensburg. Soldiers quickly set up a perimeter around Mel's property, preventing anyone from getting near the hole. When Mel tried to confront them, he was met with vague threats and was told that a plane had crashed nearby, and the area was now restricted. However, Mel knew this wasn't true. There had been no signs of crash before their arrival. Weeks passed, and the military presence only grew stronger. Helicopters patrolled the skies, and unmarked trucks were seen moving in and out of the area. Some believed the government had known about the hole for years and was now taking control of it. Then, things took an even stranger turn. Mel suddenly vanished. For months, no one knew what had happened to him. When he finally resurfaced, he had a shocking story to tell. He claimed that while traveling to San Francisco to visit his nephew, he was abducted by unknown individuals. His memory of what happened during that time was hazy, but he believed he had been held against his will. Mel's hole remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries. Was it truly a bottomless pit, a portal to another world, or something else entirely? The government's sudden interest only fueled speculation. To this day, no one has been able to determine its true nature, and its secrets remain hidden beneath the endless darkness. Mel spoke in a broken and confused manner, mentioning strange injections and waking up in places he didn't recognize. With no idea how he got there, when he finally regained his senses, he found himself alone in an alley in San Francisco. He was scared and disoriented. His wallet and belongings were missing, and his body showed signs of a struggle. The most unsettling part was his injuries, a broken arm, cuts, bruises, and even missing teeth, all without any memory of what had happened. As Mel tried to make sense of the last 12 days, a mysterious man approached him with an unusual offer. The man, who refused to reveal his identity, claimed to work for a powerful organization interested in Mel's hole. He offered Mel $3 million a year to lease the land around the hole, but with one condition: Mel had to stay silent about the hole and leave the area forever. Mel, tempted by financial security and a chance to escape the terrifying mystery, reluctantly accepted the deal. He used the money to start a new life in Australia, far from the strange events that had taken over his life. However, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was just a small piece of a much larger puzzle, one far beyond his understanding. Miles away, in the dry deserts of Nevada, another mystery was unfolding. A Native American tribe, known for their deep spiritual connection to the land, discovered a hole similar to the one on Mel's property. Curious about the similarities, they contacted Mel and asked him to come see it for himself. Unable to resist the call of another mystery, Mel traveled to Nevada, where he met with tribal elders who shared stories passed down through generations. They believed the hole was a portal to another world, a gateway beyond human understanding. As Mel stood at the edge of the second hole, he felt an eerie sense of familiarity. This pit, like his own, seemed endless. It had the same 9-foot diameter, but unlike his, it was surrounded by a smooth ring of metal, as if made by something not of this world. Mel decided to test the depth of the hole. He lowered a fishing line with a weight, but after dropping 4,500 feet, almost a mile, there was still no bottom. Determined to find answers, he replaced the weight with a pack of Lifesavers candy, hoping to see if there was water below. When he pulled the candy back up, it was completely dry. Mel didn't stop there. He connected more fishing lines and continued lowering them. Eventually, he used an unbelievable 880,000 feet of line, 166 miles, But still, the bottom was nowhere to be found. The hole seemed to stretch into infinity. Another strange thing was the way animals reacted to the hole. Dogs refused to go near it, as if sensing something dangerous. One of Mel's neighbors told him a terrifying story. After his dog passed away, he threw its body into the hole. Days later, he saw what looked like his dog, wearing the same collar, running in the woods. But when he called to it, the dog didn't recognize him. It was as if it had come back from another world, but without any memory of its past life. The story of Mel's Hole gained attention beyond his small town, reaching a famous radio show, Coast to Coast AM, in 1997. The host, Art Bell, was fascinated by paranormal mysteries and invited Mel to share his experiences. That night, Mel spoke to millions of listeners, describing his discovery, his experiments, and the strange events surrounding the hole. Listeners called in with their own theories. Some believed the hole was a gateway to another dimension, while others thought it was part of a secret government project. Some even suggested it could be a tear in reality itself. Others brought up Native American legends, hinting at a long history of mysterious happenings in the area. As the story spread, curiosity grew. Reporters and adventurers tried to find the hole, but before they could, something alarming happened. Just days after Mel's radio appearance, unmarked military vehicles arrived in Ellensburg. Armed soldiers blocked access to the hole, claiming that a plane had crashed in the area and needed to be secured. But Mel knew this wasn't true. He had been there before the military showed up, and there was no sign of a crash. Over the following weeks, the military presence increased. Helicopters flew over the hills, and strange trucks moved in and out of the area. It became clear that the government was trying to keep something hidden. The more people searched, the harder the hole was to find. In 2017, a group of adventurers claimed to have located Mel's hole using coordinates found online. They described a deep, dark pit on an abandoned farm that matched Mel's descriptions. However, when they lowered their cameras inside, all they found was darkness. There was no proof of anything unusual. As time passed, skepticism grew. Many people doubted Mel's story, pointing out that there was no physical evidence. No photos, no videos, nothing to prove the hole's existence. Mel himself became more secretive and elusive, disappearing for long periods and returning with even stranger claims. Some suspected he had made up the whole story, while others believed he had discovered something real but had been silenced by powerful forces. Scientists and geologists weighed in, arguing that a hole as deep as Mel described couldn't exist. It would collapse under its own weight. Even if it somehow remained open, the amount of fishing line needed to reach such depths would be impossible for one person to manage. Some believed the hole could be a misidentified sinkhole or an old mine shaft, while others thought it was nothing more than a well-crafted hoax. Despite decades of searching, the truth about Mel's hole remains a mystery. Was it a real phenomenon, a doorway to another world, or simply an elaborate tale? Maybe Mel stumbled upon something unexplainable, or perhaps he tapped into humanity's deep fascination with the unknown. Regardless of the truth, the legend of Mel's Hole continues to capture the imagination of many, keeping people searching for answers to this day. Thanks for watching. Keep it and stay tuned for more interesting episodes.